So my name is Elaine Botello, and I am a Wacoan, born and raised here in Waco. I have a wonderful husband of almost 35 years on Valentine's Day. We have 3 beautiful adult children who are also thriving in their personal and professional career, and we are having a blast with our first grandson. I graduated from Waco High School, and I was married at a young age. I always knew, though, that I was going to go to college because I would say, using my own family as an example, there were members of my family, Theas, that had the opportunity to go to college, and then there were some that didn't. And I think I kind of just saw, if you really want to try to give back to the community and maybe even have a better life for yourself, that was the route that you needed to go. You needed to get an education. Education was very important to me. So went to college, got my associate degree in information technology, and wasn't able to land a job right away. It was actually a pretty big struggle, and I really couldn't figure that out. I'm like, I have a college degree. Why isn't it just falling in my lap? And that's when I think I really came to realize that it might not be that I have the degree. It might be, something else, like maybe my race, maybe because I was a female. I don't know that for sure, but at that time I would think, why is it so hard? Why is it so hard to get a job? I have a college degree. Why am I struggling with this? So I went ahead and just took a job. My job was a pharmacy technician at Hillcrest Hospital. And then later I went to one of the largest school districts in our area, Waco ISD. And I went ahead and took an office clerk position. I had a lot of fun doing it. In fact, I learned a lot of skills in that role. I did go back to school, working full-time and having my own children, having children and raising children. I went back, got my bachelor's degree in human resources management, and then went ahead and got my master's degree in human resources management as well from Tarleton State University. Ultimately ended up being an assistant superintendent of human resources. So again, education was a big piece for me to be able to grow in my career, go into a position at a higher level that a lot of Hispanic leaders do not get to see, which I kind of feel sad about. And that's one reason why I do what I do, is because I want to be an inspiration. I want future Hispanics to see, if I could do it, they could do it. I know there's a lot of other stories, people with great stories, and I'm just one of them, but that was my drive. That was my drive. It was to do it for myself, to be able to give back and inspire students that I would work with, co-workers that I would work with, community members that I knew, to inspire them and let them see that with hard work and determination, because it did take a lot of hard work and a lot of determination, a lot of sweat, blood, and tears to be able to get my education, work really hard, and get to a position that was a high level position. And I'm very proud of that, but that is what drives me. After several years of serving as an assistant superintendent for human resources, I had the wonderful opportunity to start my own company. It's called the Victory Employer Services, and I provide human resources consulting, and I do HR projects for small and medium-sized businesses. And I love giving back to the community that way, because a lot of the small businesses here in Waco, they can't afford to have an HR department or an HR person. So this is just a way for me to share my knowledge and my skill and help them out at the same time. I'm really loving what I'm doing as an entrepreneur. Still a baby entrepreneur, but definitely loving it. I see the Victory Employer Services growing. I am about to hire my first employee very soon, and I'm very excited. There's a lot of great things happening, and it's just really been wonderful so far. My most important contribution to Waco is just the opportunity to inspire future Latinos, Latinas, those that are going to be taking our place one day in the future. I just want to be an inspiration for them. I just have so much hope for our youth, our Hispanic youth, and I feel like if I can do it, they can do it as well. I feel like my heritage just really bleeds into everything I've done and continue to do. I remember being in the kitchen of my abuela while she was making tortillas and playing mariachi music, and she could speak English, but she didn't want to speak English. She only spoke Spanish because she knew, I think, that my parents really weren't speaking enough Spanish to us. So she would speak Spanish to us, and this is my grandmother on my mom's side. But the Spanish that I do know, I got that from my abuelita. And just the fact that she taught me some Spanish helped me to communicate with people in my community, students, parents, people that would come in, to my work environment that did not know how to speak English. I knew just enough to understand what their needs were and how to communicate back to them, how I could be a help to them, or how I could find someone to help them. So just learning Spanish, of course, being familiar with the comida that we would eat. So tortillas was like a daily staple in our household, and frijoles and arroz, and and that's part of our culture. But also, she would listen to awesome, amazing mariachi music every time. I mean, the kitchen is where we would be all the time. Like, I rarely remember being in any other rooms in her house. It was like always the kitchen. Either we were cooking, cleaning, talking, dancing, having a great time, just me and my abuelita, while my mom was working, trying to, pay the bills for us. I would say, as far as my Hispanic heritage, it bleeds in to everything that, I've always done and do. Even to this day, it just feels so much at home to be able to connect with other people who've been brought up in similar backgrounds. My grandmother, she also faced a lot of obstacles and hardship. She had 12 children and had to work, and the majority of the time she was a single parent as well. Her kids started having kids, us, the grandchildren, and she did have to have some assertiveness and resiliency, and I did notice that, and ultimately I would take on those characteristics which helped me push forward when things got hard, when things didn't go the way I thought they should go. That resiliency helped me go to the next level. I always trusted in God. Wherever that would be, that's where I was going to be, but I always kept pushing forward because I knew that I had to, if I wanted to be able to provide a better life for my family, and to also be a role model for them. I haven't mentioned my mother, but my mom was a hard worker. She was a single parent the majority of our childhood life, working hard, trying to provide for us. And I know she got that resiliency, from her own mom and dad. And it goes back to culture. That is who we are. It's in our blood. It's what we thrive on. It's part of survival, but it's also part of showing others that we love that we have to work hard. We have to be driven to get to a certain point, and giving up probably isn't an option. And if you choose that route, you probably are going to hear from your abuelita and your abuelo, and or your tios, and you're going to probably get a good speech that will be inspiring to help you go a step further or another level. My dream for our community is to have people, probably, future leaders, at the table, at tables of various boards and organizations, serving on committees, whatever their passion is, whatever area they're interested in. My hope is that, they will get there. They can be at the table. They can have a voice and give contribution back to the community. I had the wonderful opportunity to co-found the Hispanic Leaders Network. It has been a great journey the last few years, seeing the Hispanic Leaders Network grow. The vision of the Hispanic Leaders Network is to inspire, to be a resource for current and future leaders. And I feel like it is my responsibility and the responsibility of other Hispanic leaders in our community to come together and to share with one another, to inspire one another, and to also just be a resource for each other. So many times there are people out there who want to bring us down. In our culture, that happens a lot. We see that from the outside. It's reality. There are people sometimes who just want to bring us down. But it's our responsibility as Hispanic leaders to make sure that we're lifting each other up. If we don't lift each other up, who will do that? The Hispanic Leaders Network has been a great opportunity for future and current Hispanic leaders to come together and inspire each other. We've had wonderful speakers at our events, both in person and virtual. We have also had good professional development come in that we all have been able to, learn from. And we've also been able to be a mentor for each other. I see the Hispanic Leaders Network growing. I see more and more people getting connected to HLN. We say HLN, short for Hispanic Leaders Network, of course. We have a wonderful advisory committee, and the leaders on that committee come from various aspects in their own profession, and they are able to bring so much value to the table. For one, they're very inspiring to me. Seeing them bring their knowledge and their opinions to the table, so we all could just kind of form a consensus on deciding what is the next best thing for HLN. We've been able to offer great programming every month. Usually the first Friday of the month, we have an inspirational speaker, or we have professional development, or we have someone just coming in to just share a little bit about culture. And so it's been a wonderful opportunity to be a part of that and to lead it in some aspect or other. I'm really pleased to see that it's growing, and I know it'll continue to grow.